Hello, and welcome to Canadian History with John. Today we're talking about Vimy Ridge. One of the most important parts in Canadian history, Canada was tasked with almost an impossible challenge and still managed to complete it. During the First World War, Allies needed to figure out a way to break through the strong German line in northern France. Allied higher-ups had decided on a plan that was adopted in early March of 1917 that built on the learned experiences of the French forces during the Battle of Verdun. The plan was to use the Canadian assault to draw German forces away from the French. This way they could assault the Aisne and the Chemin de Don several days later. Vimy Ridge was captured very early on in the war by the German forces, and over time they had turned the ridge into an absolute defensive stronghold with extensive tunnels, artillery pieces, and machine gun nests. Canadians knew that they had a hard battle ahead. Previous Allied assaults in the region in 1914 and 1915 resulted in hundreds of thousands of casualties and were largely unsuccessful. The Canadians would spend the winter strengthening the lines, preparing for the assault on Vimy Ridge, and rigorous training. Canadians would also conduct raids on the German defensive lines to gather information and intel on what it would look like when the assault happened. As the time for the battle inched closer every day, Allied forces had decided to shell the German line day after day after day after day in hopes to make the German line softer, making the Canadian push easier. All of this came to a head on the 9th of April 1917, when all 4 Canadian divisions in the area for the first time in history would work together to assault Vimy Ridge. The Canadians would follow what's called a creeping barrage. The artillery would move up the German line, and Canadian infantry would follow closely behind, giving little breathing room to the German defenders. The bravery that the Canadians showed that day is well documented and well known. Canadians were known to storm machine gun nests, conduct bayonet charges on defensive lines, and force Germans to surrender out of their dugout positions. What's less known about the battle is the efforts of the Canadian engineers. Leading up to the battle, miners and engineers dug extensive tunnels under the German lines in order to place caches of explosives to be detonated when the right time came. After 2 days of bloody brutal fighting, the Canadians would finally come out on top on the 12th of April when the Germans retreated east, effectively giving Allies control of the area. The success of the battle wouldn't come without a cost. Out of the 100,000 Canadians that served there, around 10,600 would become casualties, around 3,500 of which would become fatal. Today at Vimy Ridge stands a large memorial, honoring and respecting the Canadian sacrifice that happened there. It serves as a reminder of the Canadian sacrifice not only at Vimy Ridge, but also throughout the First World War. Thank you for watching. If you're into Canadian history, consider liking, consider following. Have a good day.